Alright guys, welcome to the most exciting part of our DevOps training, which is the tool called Jenkins. Today we are going to be looking at the tool called Jenkins. We are gradually moving, little by little we are going. Gradually, if you are mastering what we are doing, then by now you already are you can already be calling yourself automation engineers or DevOps engineers. We are gradually moving along. So today we'll be looking at Jenkins, and the question is asked, what is Jenkins? In primary school, when we were in Form 1, they were teaching us definitions, because Form 1 is all about define this. When they ask you define this thing, you define it by saying what it is. That's what is this thing. If they say define for example osmosis, what is that osmosis? It is a process. That is the word that they want to hear. If you don't know that it is a process, your definition is wrong. Because if you start that osmosis is a way, osmosis is an idea, osmosis is no, we know that it is a process through which a stronger solution draws a weaker solution across a semi-permeable membrane. That is the definition of osmosis. But the first thing we must know is that it is a what? A process. So let us look at what Jenkins is. So when they say what is Jenkins, what is Jenkins? Jenkins is as simple as it is. Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. Finish. Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. Where are we standing? We first of all started that Git. What is Git? And we said Git is a source code management tool, as well as Git is a source code management tool, and Maven is a build tool. Maven is a build tool. So if they ask you how many tools have you learned, you have learned the source code management tool, which is Git. Git is used for your source code management. You have learned Maven, which is the build tool. Now you are learning your Jenkins, which is the CI/CD tool. Fine, Jenkins is the CI/CD tool, but what is CI/CD? CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery. You must have heard this when you will be doing when you will be writing your CVs. You'll be saying that you are master of CI/CD, that you can build CI/CD pipelines and all the like. So you'll always be hearing about CI/CD. CI/CD will become part and parcel of you. So continuous integration and continuous delivery, that is CI/CD. Continuous integration and continuous delivery. So that is what Jenkins is. What is Jenkins? Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. And what is CI/CD? CI/CD is continuous integration, continuous delivery. What are we integrating? What are we delivering? Delivering it, taking it from where to deliver where? Those are the questions that should be hovering in your mind now. Right? We have said this is a continuous integration, continuous delivery tool. That those are just simply English words: continuous integration, continuous delivery. So what are we integrating? Let's forget about continuous for the moment. Let's look at integration. First of all, before looking at integration, what are we integrating? How do we get what we are integrating? Right? So this continuous integration and continuous delivery, to know first of all what we are integrating, how we are integrating, and how is it continuous, let us first of all know that it is in 5 stages. It is in 5 stages. The first stage is called continuous. From the stages, you can start thinking of what we are integrating and what we are delivering. The first stage is called continuous download. The second stage is called continuous build. Second stage is called continuous build. Third stage is called continuous deployment. Fourth stage is called continuous testing, and the last stage is called continuous delivery. So our CICD is made up of 5 stages. The first stage is called continuous download. Second stage is called continuous build. Third stage is called continuous deployment. Fourth stage is called continuous testing. The fifth stage is called continuous delivery. Right? What I want you to know is that we call it CICD, and we are giving 5 steps. Why could we not? What is the meaning of CI and CD? So, which means there is continuous integration. So what we are saying is that from number 1 to number 4, from number 1 to number 4 is what we call continuous integration. That means continuous download, continuous build, continuous deployment, and continuous testing is generally known as CI. This CI like this. So CI takes the place of continuous integration, continuous download, continuous build, continuous deployment, and continuous testing. That is CI. All the first 4 is known as CI. Then the last one is known as CD, continuous delivery. So why is CD? Why is there this slash here? They say CI CD. Why is there a slash? You understand why the slash is there when we start working in the pipeline. You understand why we always say continuous integration and continuous delivery, because there are some times which you are going to run continuous integration on a different platform, and then might be run continuous CD in a different way, and maybe too in a different platform. Okay, so that is why we call it, you can separate, you can cut the 2 from here and run on 2 different platforms. That's why we call continuous integration / continuous delivery. The 2 steps can be cut off. Right, we already know now that CICD is made up of 5 steps. It is called continuous integration and continuous delivery. You can cut the 2 steps in blah blah blah. But what is passing through all these stages? What is passing through all these stages? Your code. Your code. Very simple. Your code. Your code is what is passing through all the stages of continuous download, continuous build, continuous deployment, and your code. The code that the developers wrote. That is what is passing into the pipeline. So this is what we call a pipeline. Remember that in order to generate in order to generate an artifact with Maven, we directly installed Maven. We went and developed Maven numbers. We went and tried to install Maven and detect the type of application that we wanted to build. We were doing all those in a manual way directly on top of our computer. All those were manual. Okay, those were manual manipulations. But now you are not going to be working directly with Maven again. No, Jenkins is going to be working now. Jenkins is the master now that is going to tell Maven, build me an artifact. Right? Jenkins is going to be running all those commands that you have been running. Jenkins is going to help you run the commands. So from now henceforth, you are not going to be installing Maven. In fact, you are never going to install Maven on your personal laptops, except, I don't know, you are building an application for yourself. You are never going to install Maven in your personal laptop. So that lesson was just for you to know. Nobody is going to ever ask you in the interview that you should, how do you install Maven in your personal laptop? No, they can ask you for the various combinations. You just install it to know the various sub combinations of Maven. Okay, so your code, where are we and how are we to install this code? Remember, our developers are here. What are they doing? Our developers are here. They are sending code. They are sending code to where? To these developers are sending code to our GitHub account. These developers are sending code to our GitHub account, right? Now the code is found here. Our code is here. The code is raw. It is there. Okay. Now, once that code is there, we are going to have 3 different computers like this. We are going to have 3 different computers in this manner. All right. Having 3 different computers in this manner means that our code now is going to be downloaded from here. This is continuous download. Our code will be downloaded from GitHub into our first computer. This computer, we are going to call it it is always called the dev. Dev stands for development. That means it is a development computer. This computer is called the dev computer. It's a development computer. This one is called the QA computer. It is quality assurance, right? It is quality assurance. And this one is the deployment computer. Let's call it the production computer. Generally, it's always called prod. All right. So this is dev, QA, and prod. Production. These are just EC2 instances. They are EC2 machines. They are EC2 computers. Okay. So the CI part, your CI part, this part, continuous download. The first continuous download will be, you will be taking down the application from the code that was uploaded by developers. You will be downloading the code from the GitHub account into your dev instance. When you download the code into the dev instance, what will download the code? What will help you download the code into the dev instance? It is Jenkins. Okay, this work will be done by Jenkins. So Jenkins is the master here doing all the work. Jenkins downloads the code from GitHub to development. Now in development, what is available in development? In development, we have Maven installed inside development. In development, what do we have again? We have Git installed inside development, and in development we are going to also have JDK is Java, please. All right, these are the tools that are going to be inside development, right? So when Jenkins is going to download the code from the GitHub account into development, Jenkins is going to now tell Marvin that, Marvin, please build an artifact from this code that I have downloaded. Marvin, build an artifact. Marvin now will then build an artifact. Code is downloaded and then an artifact will be built. Marvin build an artifact. So the process of Marvin building that artifact is what we call here continuous build. Marvin is going to then build an artifact. Jenkins is going to command Marvin to build an artifact. Marvin is then going to build an artifact. Okay, Marvin has built an artifact. We know what an artifact is. So what are we doing with the artifact? How are we going to do with the artifact? We are going to send it to the client? No, client does not need artifact. Client does not need code. Client wants to see. Client is sitting in his house. Client just wonder you should give him a link to click, and then he sees his application running. So client does not need code. Client does not want to start installing things. Client does not want anything. Client just want a link. Give me a link that I will click and see my application running. That is what client needs. So we are at continuous build. We have built the application, so we need to now deploy the application. So deploying the application is the aspect of making the application to go live. So that client can see the application from his house or from his office in his computer. Client can see the application running. That is what we call continuous deployment, right? We are at continuous deployment. And how do we do continuous deployment? Continuous deployment is nothing than just simply copying this artifact. You just simply copy this artifact from development into QA. When this artifact is available in QA, it is called, you have deployed the artifact, right? You simply copy the artifact from development to QA. What is going to help you copy this artifact from development to QA? It is going to still be Jenkins. Jenkins is our master here. Jenkins is going to help you copy the artifact from development to QA. Why QA? Why are you sending the artifact to QA? We have 3 machines. This is QA. QA, as we said, is quality assurance. Before you ever send an artifact to a client, you yourself, you need to test the artifact and see how the artifact is functioning. You need to test the artifact. That's what we call QA, quality assurance. Test the artifact and make sure that the artifact is functional. So the aspect of sending the artifact here is what we call continuous deployment. We are standing here, continuous deployment. We have deployed the artifact where? Into QA. What will QA do? QA is going to test the artifact, right? So here we are testing the artifact. How is the test run? Unfortunately, we are not going to be doing testing. Testing is a whole different branch of DevOps, a huge different branch of DevOps, that after you must have finished DevOps, you can now say that I want to study or I want to become a QA. That means you are going to study now the tool called Selenium, right? You are going to study the tool called Selenium. Now in testing, what are these guys in testing doing? The guys are going to write a particular code The guys are going to write a particular code. What does this code do? The code that they are going to write is going to generate all the activities that this application was meant to do, and the application is going to display all those activities. If one of the activity of the application was open a terminal, write somebody's name, click on print receipt, let the receipt be generated and be printed, right? That means you need to go and do that, write somebody's name somewhere. Like let's take for instance, this application was a banking application. In a banking application, what will be the common thing that will happen? Somebody will come and save money, you write the name of the person, and then you generate his account, and then you put the amount that he has just saved, and then you put the date and everything that he saved, and then you generate a receipt, and then that receipt gets generated and then printed, right? Somebody has to manually test that and make sure that it is working. But with the DevOps methodology, these QA guys are going to write a code. They are going to write a code that when they will run on this your application, all those things are going to be occurring without anybody touching any keyboard or doing anything. They are going to run with a click, and you'll just be sitting and watching how the terminals are filling, and everything is occurring automatic. Nobody is going to do anything. That's what we call automation. DevOps, the key watchword of DevOps is automation. Nobody is in control of, and nobody touches anything. Everything occurs automatic, right? So when all that is done, imagine that after the quality assurance team has done all the testing and make sure that everything is okay and everything is fine, it is a go. The testing guy says good, it is a go. What will happen? Jenkins again now will send the application to prod. Now production is when the application actually goes live into the public. The application now is at the level of the public. Everybody now can log into the application and see the application. Okay, so we started by continuous download, continuous build, continuous deployment, continuous testing, which occurs here, and then continuous delivery. Continuous delivery occurs here. You deliver the application to the client. Okay, at this level, is there anything anybody is confused of? Is there anything that anyone is confused?
Yes, one short question.
Yes.
Okay, once the quality assurance have done the testing, is there any feedback given to DevOps part like Marvin? Is there any feedback given to those tools to assure them that there is no bug for them to send to production?
Okay, if there are feedbacks before the building of this pipeline, there are quality assurance rules and regulations. That is all the rules and regulations for the application to pass are set. They say the application must do this, it must do that, it must do that, it must do that. So all those things are set in the script that the quality assurance testers are going to be using. So if the application passes what it was meant to do, it is a tick, it is a go. If it passes, it's a tick, it's a go. If it passes all the maybe 100 different rules that it was supposed to take, it's a tick, it's a go. It does not have to come back and tell somebody that that application was good. No, it doesn't have to come back and tell anybody that the application was good. All it does is it comes back, informs Jenkins that Jenkins, it is a good, the application is good, you can go ahead. Jenkins now deploy to production, right? Jenkins deploy to production automatically. Nobody is intervening here. When we talk about a full-fledged continuous integration, continuous delivery, nobody intervenes. Now in a situation which the test fails, let's consider that the test fails, the application did something which it was not supposed to do. That was not what the application was supposed to do. The test fails. The application now, instead of generating somebody's receipt after you have filled everything, the application does not generate a receipt. it just simply prints the receipt without generating it for you to see before you press print. That type of a misfunction can occur, and then that fails in the testing. The testers will then say that the report will then be generated itself and sent back to Jenkins, and you, the DevOps engineer, what will you do? The logs will be developed to you, and then you will send it back to the developers and tell the developers that, hey guys, there is a problem in your code. This is what the code is meant to do. This is what the code is doing. Can you please see what to do? And we all did source code management. The information is going to be sent to you with the person that did the commit, with the person that had the task, the person that actually is in charge of that particular section of the code. So you are just going to send it directly to that particular person and say, hey guy, you are the one that wrote this code, right? The code is not generating a receipt for us to see before printing. The code is just generating the receipt and printing automatically. Can you please correct it? He will correct it and then does a commit and send it to and upload it again to GitHub. Once the code enters GitHub, you are not the one to click something for this process to start again. No. Once his code is sent to GitHub, automatically Jenkins discovers that there is a new code that has been sent to GitHub. There is an amendment, there is something that has changed. Jenkins automatically start downloading the new code. Marvin automatically start building the new code. It is sent again to the QA. The same process goes again in the QA, and the process is just automatic. Is that clear?
Yeah, very well, sir. Very well, it's clear.
Okay. Any other question?
Then, in essence, all this is what we call backend development. Is that it?
When you are talking about back-end development, you are talking about programming. You are talking about programming. Programming is different from DevOps. Okay. Okay,
I just wanted to clarify that.
No, it is not back-end development. Back-end development is in programming. What we call back-end development is building a code that is going to run a particular application. You are building the code. That means you are building the logic that is going to be run in that particular code. You are doing the back-end development. Okay, these people are the ones doing back-end development. They are building the code, and they can also build the front end, because when we talk about back end and front end, does not mean that it is back or whatsoever. The back end is what the user does not see. The front end is what the user sees. That's all. When you open an application, what you see is the front end, but you don't see the code that is running that application. The person who needs to see the code that is running that application is the developer. That's him. He is sitting in the back end. So that is, back end is in development. Back end and front end is in development, please. All right, we have successfully gone through all the stages of CICD. Okay, so it is now time for us to face Jenkins eye to eye and ball to ball. So we get into our AWS account. We are going to be running our AWS account. Okay, so generally, please generally you will be asked to log in. Generally, you will be asked to log in into your account. I think let me just log out, and then let us try. I think I have my own account somewhere. This is my own console ID. The console ID that I've sent to some of you. You are going to use that one. Okay, you log in, your account will look like this, right? Yeah, I am a user, my name, password, and then I log in. All right, this is the account. This is an AWS platform. For those who do not know AWS platform, please, I will advise you go through the installation introduction video on AWS training. You are going to see everything that is needed there. Go through that video, please. It is well explicit. I think I took time at the installation. Here is where you see your name. Here is what we call the region where you are located. You see we are located presently at North Virginia, and then your AWS console will look like this. But here you are going to have all the various services of AWS. There are so many of them. There are thousands of services for AWS. So when they say you are learning AWS, Amazon Web Services, you are learning all these services, the functioning of all these services. When you know a particular set of services, they qualify you as a solution architect. When you learn some particular set of services, they qualify you as a professional. When you learn a particular set of services, they qualify you as AWS programmer, DevOps programmer, and all the like. So all these are the various services. There are so many of them, please. So many. So when you come here, we are looking at the service called EC2. The service called EC2, and here we have EC2. So here is our EC2, a newly fresh created account. So what you do is you create, we are going to be running a Linux machine. We are going to be running all what we are going to be doing. We are going to be doing in the cloud. We are going to be running a Linux machine, and we have to create a Linux machine. So we come to instances, and then we go to launch an instance, and for now let us launch one instance where we are going to install our Jenkins, and we call it the dev instance, and that is the name of your instance. You call it the dev instance. There is something here called the AMI. The AMI is the Amazon machine image. You are going to choose which application you are using. These are just like softwares. You have Windows, you have Ubuntu. So we'll go for Ubuntu. I like Ubuntu because it is very easy to use, and for a start you should use Ubuntu because it's very easy for you. But you can use any Linux based system. You can use Red Hat, SUSE, AWS Linux. You can use any of them, but I like Ubuntu because it is very easy. And you go down to what we call the instant type. The instant type gives you the qualities of that computer. In your computer you always have what we call your RAM, and you always have a CPU. So here you are going to select a CPU, and you are going to select a RAM. For our purpose of training, we can go with T2 Micro, which is a free service. But if we want to install Jenkins, let us go for a 2 GB RAM, because Jenkins will need a lot of graphic interface to run. It is not free. This one is not free, please. So if you try and take T2 small and allow your instance to run for more than an hour, you are going to pay. They are going to start billing you. So please, for the accounts, for those of you that I'm giving this account to, don't run any service that will stay for the paid service that will stay for long. You can still run Jenkins on for training. Let's take EC2 T2 even, please, because the time I'll do it for T2 small, all of you will start doing it for T2 small. Let's remain with T2 micro. Then for the key pair, you can create your new key pair, as well as you can take existing key pair I already have a series of existing key pairs, so there is no need for me to be creating a key pair. But when you watch the video, you understand how to create a key pair. Some people were asking me, please, should we take AWS before taking DevOps, or can we just jump into DevOps? I say you can jump into DevOps, but you need 10% of AWS. This is the 10%. So please go. The video is already available for you to go and watch. So you come to existing security groups. You take your security group that you have already created, or you can create another, you can launch another security group. So I will go to the DevOps security group that I created. This is it, and then everything is good, everything is good, everything is good. These are the summary of what you have done. If you want to launch 3 machines, you just go 1, 2, 3, and it will launch 3 computers for you. But I don't want 3 computers, I want just 1 computer. So I launch my instance. Okay, we have created our AWS instance. Let us wait for it to start. Where are we while waiting for the AWS instance to start? We have known what Jenkins is, we have known what CICD is, we know all the various stages of CICD, and then we are trying to create the CICD infrastructure, which is nothing but an EC2 machine. So we are installing, when we create it, we're going to install Jenkins on that EC2 machine, and we're going to see what a job is. Okay, so we are at this level, we are creating the infrastructure. So one of the things which you are going to put in your CV that you are an expert in doing is that you create the infrastructure for running CI/CD. Okay, you create the infrastructure for running CI/CD. And what is creating the infrastructure for running CI/CD? Configuring the GitHub, creating EC2 instances and configuring all of them, installing Jenkins, installing all the various tools that needs to be run. That is in a company, they can give that particular task, they can give that as a task and employ somebody to be doing just that. Because every day they are creating different structures and running different applications far, wide and center. So they need somebody, they need somebody to just be creating the pipelines and setting them up, creating the pipelines and setting them up. They can employ you to be doing just that. Okay, so in one of your CV things, you say you are an infrastructure builder. Okay. All right, our machine is now running. When it is running, you see it under instance state running. Okay, so we are in our Windows machine now. So we want to log into our newly created machine that we have just created. How do we log in? We click on the machine itself, select it, and then we click on connect. There are so many ways by which you can log in, but the easiest and most effective way is using the SSH client. You copy this address. You copy this address here. When you copy this address, then you can log in using Git Bash. You can log in using Git Bash. How should you log in using Git Bash? I strongly recommend that you watch the videos. You open Git Bash from where you stored your key pair. Your key pair should have been downloaded, and then you should have stored it somewhere here. So I open Git Bash from where I stored my key pair. Okay, Git Bash is open and the terminal is pointing to the folder where my key pairs were stored. I paste what I just copied from there and I enter. Click enter. You are about to log in. Yes. And bingo, I am inside my EC2 machine. This is my terminal now in the cloud. I am in the cloud now. This is my terminal in the cloud. This is my terminal in the cloud. I am right now in the cloud. First thing to do in order to install Jenkins, that is our task today. We want to install Jenkins. What should we do in order to install Jenkins? First thing first, you have to update your repository, you run sudo apt get update. Sudo apt get update, your repositories get updated. You have to always update your repositories, which is very important. When you update your repository, here are the rules. The various steps are in your notes. This here is your notes. The first thing that we do is update apt repositories, right? After you update apt repositories, you install Java. Second thing is you install Java. We are going to be installing the OpenJDK 11. You are going to run the command sudo apt install OpenJDK 11 and -y. I'm going to tell you the meaning of that command. So we are going to run sudo apt get install OpenJDK hyphen, the version is 11 hyphen JDK hyphen y. Now look at the command very well. Sudo, we are trying to get the app, right? The app name is OpenJDK, the version is 11. Okay, this hyphen y means that if they ask us anywhere along the installation that do you want to accept yes or no, we should just automatically accept that it is a yes. So we press enter. So OpenJDK is being installed. OpenJDK is getting installed. And it is done. Okay, how do you know that OpenJDK is well installed? You run java version. Now you will see the version of the Java in which you are running. See, OpenJDK 11, right? OpenJDK 11. Somebody is saying that he is in class and cannot get in. Adija is saying that she cannot get in.
No, I think I was the one that I'm connected now. It's fine.
Okay. I just received a message from Adija. She says she cannot get in. I myself am unable to connect things. What is happening? I haven't seen any demand from Adija. I've accepted everybody. Okay, use the link up. All right, when we run java version, we will see the Java version that should be 11, Java version 11, and then we know that Java is installed. Okay, all right. The next thing now after installing Java is to install Git and Maven. We need to now install Git and Maven. So we are going to install those two applications as one. Git and Maven, we are going to jointly install all of them as one. Let us see this is the command to install Git and Maven. Sudo apt get install -y Git Maven. That means Git will be installed and Maven will be installed, the two at one. So let's run the command. Sudo apt get install Git Maven. Sorry, install git maven -y. All right. So the application has installed Git and it has installed Maven. Let us see. Git version is there. This is a version of Git 2.3.34.1. MVN. Remember, it is not Maven. It is MVN version. It is also installed. The default Maven is 3.6.3. It is highly installed. Okay, we are good to go. We have installed JDK, we have installed Git, we have installed Maven. Now is the time to install the main boss, Jenkins. So how do we install Jenkins? We just go to our Google page and we download Jenkins download. We take it from jenkins.io. The version from jenkins.io is the original version, right? jenkins.io. I'm sure the situation is from Adijah's side. I don't know what is happening, but I have not seen a request from her. I've not seen a request from Adijah. I don't know. Maybe she will follow the notes. Okay, we are at jenkins.io. Right away, you have the various versions of Jenkins. You can download your Jenkins for Windows, you can download your Jenkins for Mac, you can download your Jenkins for Linux, you can download for everything. But we are not running a physical machine, we are running a virtual machine. So running a virtual machine, we cannot come and be downloading for all these, right? We cannot. If we download for these ones, it is going to be stored inside our computer, not in our cloud computer. We want it in our cloud computer, not in this computer. So what we do is we come to generic package. This is the generic package. This is the package that is used to download applications into your cloud computer. You right click for the generic package and you come down to copy link. You copy the link. Let us copy the link and click it somewhere and see what happens. This is the link I have copied. The link is this is the link. I paste the link here. This is the link. I right clicked, please. I came here, I right clicked. I came to the side, I right clicked. You don't click, you right click, and then you come and copy the link. When I copy the link, I have pasted the link here. What I will add in front of the link is just wget. It is saying that web get me. This is the command you are running. Web get me this particular file. Web get me this particular file. This is the file that we are after, jenkins.war, right? It is the last file. This is the file. The file is located in this website, getjenkins.io, in a folder called war stable. In another subfolder, this is a particular file we are after. So we are commanding our Linux system to get that file. So we run the whole command, web get that command, that file, please. We run it in our terminal. So Jenkins is being downloaded, not installed, downloaded. Right now the Jenkins has been downloaded. How do we know that it has been downloaded? How do we know that it has been downloaded? We run ls. This is the WAR file that we have downloaded, right? This is the Jenkins WAR file that we have downloaded. Now we need to run the file. Normally in your Windows machine, you will come and double click on this file to run it, to execute it, right? So how do we double click in the cloud? If you are in your Windows machine and I say run this file, all what you are going to do is you are going to go to where that file is and then you double click, right? And then the file will start installing. But at the level of the cloud, how do we run this file? For Jenkins, you have a command called java-jar jenkins.war. This file will run, this command now will run this particular file, and the file will be installed now into your machine, right? Let us click enter. Okay, our Jenkins has, see, Jenkins initial setup is required. Jenkins initial setup is required. We have run our file. Now Jenkins initial setup is required. An admin user has been created and a password generated. Please use the following password to proceed to installation. When you install Jenkins, take note of this particular password. Be very, very, very watchful. Take note of this particular password and copy it, right? Copy the password and keep. It's very important. You are going to use the password in your installation. Copy the password and keep. So this is the password that I have copied and kept. So we have installed Jenkins. See guys, look at something. We have installed Jenkins in this development instance. Where is the development instance found? In the cloud. This development instance is found in the cloud, and our Jenkins is installed there. How are we going to get access to that Jenkins that is installed in the cloud from our laptops? From here we are with our laptops here. How are we going to get to Jenkins from installed in this development instance? We can only do that by accessing Jenkins through the web browser. Okay, we can only do that by accessing Jenkins through the web browser. So how are we going to access Jenkins through the web browser? This is what we are going to do. We know our machine. Our machine is what? Our machine is running. Our session is running on this is where our Jenkins is running. In this machine like that, the machine has what we call a public IP and a private IP. As to what the public IP and private IP does, please follow AWS Solution Architect, you will know. As what the public IP and the private IP does, follow AWS Solution Architect to learn that. So you are going to come here, you take the public IP of this your machine, because Jenkins is installed in this machine. You take the public IP of this machine, you open a new browser, and then you paste that public IP there. Jenkins run on a particular port. Jenkins run on a particular port. Jenkins exposes itself to port number 8080. Jenkins exposes itself to port number 8080. So if you paste your public IP and you open the port 8080, if there is Jenkins, you are going to get access to Jenkins. So Jenkins run on port 8080. So we get to our web browser, we paste the IP address. This is the IP address, the public IP address, and then we click colon, we insert colon, and then we write 8080. If we do everything right, and if we have done everything right, we are going to have access to Jenkins. And voila, Jenkins is available. All right, now remember the password that we copied. You see, remember the password that we copied? This particular password, that is what they are asking for you now here. The administrator password, that's what they are asking for you. So where did we keep that password? I copied it and kept it here. I copy now the password of Jenkins, and then I paste it here, and then I continue. Now when you continue, Jenkins functions with plugins. Everything about Jenkins is plugged in here, plugged in there, plugged in. So Jenkins functions with plugin. So install suggested plugins. You can select the ones that you want to install, but I will just always go for install the suggested ones. Now for everybody, this is for my students in Cameroon. For everybody who is in Cameroon and is following this program, you might come here, because I faced that problem and I almost went mad. You might come here and you say install suggested plugins, and it tells you that failed. It is not installing. It tells you failed. Please don't think you are doing something bad. Sometimes the internet is very really poor, and if the internet is poor, it will fail. I did it with one operator. I don't want to call the operator's name for fear of downgrading. I did it with one operator, and it failed, and I changed it to another operator, and then it functioned very well. Okay, I did it with one operator, it failed. If somebody is good, I mean, we should say the person is good, but without any advert. And I did it with MTN. It worked very well for me, and the data was good, and it downloaded. Okay, so sometimes you come here, if you are not with the right with the good debit data, you come to install it, they will say failed. You think that you are doing something wrong, but you are not doing something wrong. Actually, you just need to upgrade your debit. Okay, so I click on install suggested plugins. So the plugins are being installed. Just give it some moment for all the suggested plugins to install. Okay, plugins have installed, and they are asking for a username. I just go with admin. Password, I just go with admin. Confirm password, admin. Don't worry, in your organization where you will be recruited, they will tell you everything to put as password, username, email address. They will tell you everything. Continue. So this is my link to Jenkins. I continue, save and finish. I am now starting to use Jenkins. I am inside of Jenkins. Okay, I'm inside of Jenkins now. This is the dashboard of Jenkins. You have your username here. You have people. You can configure so many people to use Jenkins. You can manage Jenkins here. We'll be working so much with this manage Jenkins. These are the idle jobs that are standing. This is everything about Jenkins. We'll see how to build jobs and do things with Jenkins. We have installed Jenkins, and everything is okay. In order to build to set anything in Jenkins, in order to work with Jenkins, everything you are going to do with Jenkins is going to be about jobs. If you want to have any project in Jenkins, that project is going to be a job. We call the project, any project you have in Jenkins, as a job. So how are you going to set up a job? To set up a job, you just come to new item, click on new item, and then give you a job name, maybe job 1, something like that. There are so many types of job. We have pipeline, multi-configuration folder, multi-branch organization folder. There are so many types of jobs. So for a start, you just take a freestyle job. It's not a pipeline, it's a freestyle job. You are just running the job manually yourself. You click OK, and then the job is being configured. The job has been created. So if you go to your dashboard, you will see that you have one job. The job name is job. Okay, a job name is job. So right now you can configure this job such that when you are downloading code, the code is coming to the job project, and it will be built under the job project. So we have installed Jenkins and we have created our first job. We are not going to run a job today because I want that we should run a full-fledged job. Okay, as with respect to the other instances, we are going to see them in our subsequent programs. We are going to look at the QA instance. We are going to see the prod instance. What are we installing in the QA instance? What are we installing in the prod instance? And then we are going to see how we can run a full-fledged job, starting from the dev instance to the QA to the prod instance in our subsequent sessions. Any question, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Why logging into our account on Jenkins?
Yes.
Are we to put anything where you are asked your username and the like?
I said very clearly that your organization will give you what to put there. Right?
Okay.
For your practice, you can put anything. You are the master. For your practice, you can put anything. You can put anything.
Okay.
Those things are not very much necessary.
Okay.
The moment you delete, you delete your EC2 machine, that job is gone. Everything is gone. So you can just put anything.
Okay.
Yes, Roberto.
Yes, please. I wanted to know when the DevOps engineer creates this pipeline like this, and which is said to be automated, what is therefore his role after? Because why is the company going to pay him after everything's already automated?
Why will you need a DevOps engineer after he must have automated everything and made everything functional? Why will you need him? Of course, you are going to need him because though everything is already automated, there are times in which a job will run and then crash down your pipeline. A job will run and then crash down your pipeline. There are moderations. Look at this pipeline like this. There are moderations that needs to be done. There are times in which you build the QA gives you a particular high level performance code that the programmers will not be able to build. Each time they commit a job, it gets blocked at the level of QA and it is sent back to them. They will need you to reduce those setups. You are going to reduce those setups in might be at the level of your tool that you are using to control the QA instance. Then more so, there are jobs that run on a particular pipeline, which are some applications run on a particular pipeline which are day-to-day applications that are used in day-to-day life, and those applications, they are interactive. Check, for example, an application that controls the flight system in airports. That is an application that is on a day-to-day basis. It needs somebody to be on the pipeline on a day-to-day. That pipeline does not have to break at any moment. Nothing. A bug can enter the pipeline at any time and it gets broken. And now, even as you have built one pipeline, this is just one pipeline of one project. In a company, there are hundreds of projects running parallelly. I mean, projects upon projects upon projects running parallelly, right? There is not only one project that is running. You can enter a company and all you do every blessed day is keep building pipelines, you keep building the pipelines, and then you start monitoring. All right, we are going to see how monitoring takes place with Ansible, how monitoring takes place with Kubernetes, because building of pipelines is one of the jobs of a DevOps engineer, one of the jobs of a DevOps engineer. And then monitoring is also part of the DevOps engineer, okay, because you are going to be monitoring using Kubernetes and might be Nagios, and you are going to also be doing some updates using Ansible, okay. So there are a lot of things which a job that has been deployed, they will need you to monitor. A job that has been deployed, they will need you to update using maybe Ansible. You are going to use Ansible in updating some jobs, okay. So a DevOps engineer is going to, you are an asset of the company, and they need you at so many different interventions, not only building pipelines. As I said, you can build a pipeline. Building pipeline is part of the job. Another person can just be constructing the infrastructure for the pipeline. Not actually, because we have not yet built a pipeline. No. We have just constructed an infrastructure. We have not yet built any pipeline, okay. We just made an infrastructure ready for a pipeline to be built. So when we build a real pipeline, before you see how a pipeline actually really functions. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. So yes, sir. Please, I wanted to know, so this pipeline that DevOps engineer sets up, is it only valid for web projects, or even for desktop applications, or mobile applications, or only for web projects?
No. This pipeline, you build any project using pipelines. In fact, all applications that I say all applications now, it is rare for you to see somebody building an application and then going to install it in the client's server somewhere in the client's location. That is outdated. I think we are still the ones doing that in Africa. That is outdated. These applications are built and updated automatically. They are built and updated. So the Android applications, that is phone applications that you have in your phones, are constructed with pipeline. They can be compiled and constructed with pipeline. Most of the applications, you look at, for example, PayPal is an application. You think it is a web application, as well as it has its Android version and the iOS version. So you think the application is not, there is no pipeline for the application. There is a definite pipeline set up for the application. Each time there is a change of code in that application, it runs in its pipeline and then comes directly to where it is live. So it does not have to, you do not need to, like WhatsApp is in your phone, right? When they do an update in WhatsApp is already having its pipeline built in their database. Its pipeline is already built there. When they have some sort of an update in WhatsApp, it goes directly and it goes through the stream directly and is updated in its the artifact that is available at the Play Store. And immediately, once it enters that artifact that is available at the Play Store, it then tells you that have already installed that there is already an updated version. You just update and you are live. Okay. So the pipeline goes for all applications. When you do in Aws Devops is something different. It's something crazy. In Aws Devops, it is all about project management. Their own is full of project management. So every development of software now goes through a pipeline. it goes through a pipeline. That's why DevOps engineers are highly needed all over the world. That's why DevOps engineers are really, really highly needed. Because you cannot, everybody is struggling to have an application for his business to actually match the competition that is out there today. Everybody is struggling to have an application, and in order to have an application, you must consult an IT company to build you that application. And when you consult an IT company, they are going to build you that application. They need engineers to build that application, right? And they'll always build that application for you using the DevOps pipeline. Any other question?
So it means that DevOps engineers mostly work in in companies that develop applications. Can they work elsewhere apart from this?
Now look at the market. The market is in this way, please. There are companies specialized for developing applications. Okay, there are companies, and IT companies are specialized for developing applications, such that let us take a random situation. If you have a travel agency, like let's say you are somebody that travels to Bamenda, and you have to take a travel agency like in Salt Boys with a little bit of advertisement. If you take Salt Boys is a traveling agency that is located in Biamasi, Yaoundé, and it travels to Bamenda. If Salt Boys wants to they have very pretty good buses of recent. They bought very good new buses. If Salt Boys wants an application, they want that you should get to them online. What are they going to do? They are a traveling agency. They are involved in traveling, so they don't know anything about IT. They are going to come to an IT company. They are going to look for an IT company in Yaoundé, and then tell that IT company that, please, can you build us an application such that passengers who are maybe in Ebolowa, passengers who are maybe in Ntui, before they reach Yaoundé, they have already booked for their buses and paid online, because they might be reaching when the buses are already full at about 8 o'clock, when buses are leaving at 10 in the night. So they will contact an IT company to build a booking application for their company. Good. Now, in the case of the modern world, we have a company without any advertisement like MTN. It is into tech, but it needs somebody to build its application. It decides, instead of outsourcing its application to third-party engineers as a company, it decides and says that we are going to create an IT department. MTN now creates an IT department, right? When they create this IT department now, what will they do? They will now say that, okay, we are working with a recruitment company. They are working with a recruitment company. That recruitment company now hires engineers. These recruitment companies hires engineers and sign contracts with these engineers, and then outsource these engineers to go and work for MTN's IT department. MTN can say that, okay, we need engineers that work on a program for 2 years. We have a program that we are developing for 2 years. We need engineers that work for that program for 2 years. You come and work in this program for 2 years. You leave. You have a contract as an engineer signed with this company. You come and work with these people for 2 years. After 2 years, you come back. These people will take you back, and then they will send you to another different company They will send you to a different company. That company may be involved in these ones were involved in communication. This other company might be they are involved in let's say something like finance. Yes, why not finance? This company is involved in finance, and it is also developing its own application, but it is also afraid that it does not want to give it to any company out there. It creates its own IT department, right? So these people here are the people whom we call recruiting companies. You as a DevOps engineer, sometimes you sign your contract but with these people, so they are sending you left, right and center. They already have a contract with these big organizations, because this big organization, they don't have time to be going out and looking for talent. Search for talent is not an easy thing. Searching for talent is not that easy. Okay, so these guys are the ones that search for those talents. They have their own internal experts. When they search for the talents, those internal experts will test those talents and make sure that the talents are up to standard. And then when MTN or a financial bank comes up, they will send those talents to go and work there. But before they send those talents to go and work there, these guys will also test the talent and make sure that you are fit to work in their company before they will accept you to work there. So that is how the situation works. So companies have their IT departments, and then they employ talent to come and work in their IT department. But for us in Africa, we still have IT companies. We still have IT companies that does the development. But what I see mostly in Europe is that IT companies do not exist again as companies. They exist they just exist as the people who are doing the recruitment and then sending the talent to different companies. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other question?
Yes, I have one question, sir.
Yeah. You're on.
All right. I just want to find out, there are some mobile application like from banks, when you want to check in your, like to verify your account, they keep telling you that there is a problem with your password, and this happens almost for all the clients. I wish to find out if the testing wasn't done properly before delivering that product, or does it mean the engineers were not really concentrating on that, on the testing? Because many times there are some new banks that come up with applications which doesn't really work.
Okay, your problem is that some applications, some banks or some companies provide applications that the functionalities that are supposed to work are not working as described. Is that?
Exactly, yes. So like to check your account or something like that, or to do a transfer. Yeah.
Yes, that means that the QA did not write the right code and make sure that the functionalities are tested. And then secondly, it might be a program that was never Dockerized. Now, when we come to Docker and Kubernetes, you will understand the difference. Now, in installing Maven in our laptop, did you see what we did? We first of all installed Java, and then we set path variables, and then we actually set environment variables. Okay, those are what we call dependencies. Those are dependencies. Now, you can create an application. You create a very good application. The application is working very well in your computer or in the development computer where the application was developed, working very well. Why is it working very well there? It is working very well there because all the environment variables are well configured in your development computer. Okay, now, but when you take the application now and send it to a different environment, a different computer, that computer is not having those environment variables that were in your computer, what will happen? The application will not function very well. There are some applications that before you install, they will keep telling you download Java version this and that, download this version that, before the application ever works. Do you get it?
Very well, yes, I got the point. Yeah.
For those of us that have been academic administrators in Cameroon, the GCE board is suffering from that issue. They are suffering from, they have an application, they have an application that they have developed to register students, but principals are unable to install that application and function with it very well. You see some people walking around and doing the installation in principals' offices and taking 5,000 just because the application needs an environment variable that has to be installed. The application needs an environment variable that has to be installed, and that environment variable has to be either be downloaded. They will tell principals that in order to run this application, you have to download .NET before you can run the application. But principals do not know what is .NET. They do not know whatsoever. They say they are telling me to download some type of things I don't know. As a DevOps engineer or as a developer, client is a king. The American concept of the client is a king. He should not suffer to install your application. He should not suffer. So that is why the concept of Docker that we are going to do immediately after Jenkins, the concept of Docker now comes in. What is Docker? Docker now is you are sending the application to the client with all the dependencies packaged inside a container. That is why we call applications that are running Docker as containers. That container contains everything. You don't need to go and start installing Java. You don't need to go and start installing .NET. You don't need, the application already contains all its dependencies and it runs in any system and in any environment. So if the application of the GCE board could be Dockerized and then just sent to principals and tell you that just run this application, it is having everything inside. You just run the application and everything comes up. That is the concept of Docker, and that's why Docker is changing the world. It is changing the way applications are run. In your mobile phones, they will not need to tell you again that for you to run this application, you have to download this or download that or download that. No, mobile phones are already coming with Docker pre-installed inside, such that any application now that is coming up, it is already containerized. It just runs with all its dependencies. You don't need any other thing. The customer should not be suffering in order to install anything. At the beginning, we were always told that your phone must be able to run Java before you can do something. Yes, but today we don't have all that again. So one of the reasons why those applications that are meant to function are not functioning well, maybe they were not containerized.
Okay.
But they actually worked very well in their development environment, but failed in the production environment. A question that can be asked to you in an interview, it has been asked to me, why will an application work very well in the development environment, but fail to work at the level of production? Yes, it fails to work at the level of production. Why? Because that application might not have all the environment variables that we are in the development environment. So those variables are absent in the production environment. Now one guy sat down and said, okay, but wait, listen, there should be a way in which we can after developing an application, we can just ship it all with all those environment variables. And that's how he brought the concept of Docker. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it's well understood. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other question? Okay. In the absence of a question, we end the class for today, hoping that we are going to have another one tomorrow. See you guys. And I believe if I close early enough, AWS will be this evening. Okay. See you guys. Roberto, you still have something? Your hand is up.
No, it's okay, sir.
Okay. All right. See you guys tomorrow, God willing. Have a nice day. Bye bye.